XAR 375 here, and want to do a shout out to ACAS 51, aka the Fourth Dimension. Hey man, no worries about the name confusion. So for my handle, but anyway, I wanted to talk about what's going on up in Oregon and how everyone should just kind of chill and relax and let the leadership of the uh, 3%ers and so forth deal with the situation. I'm sure they have a better handle on it than any of us do, outside of the area. So I would just say sit back and be ready. I know they did a call to action, and I think it's rightfully so that they do a call to action. I strongly suggest, and I'm putting it out here, and I'm damned to hell if the feds put me on a fucking list. I'm already on a fucking list. I don't give a shit. I strongly suggest everybody go out and get this book, Enemies, Foreign and Domestic. It's a very good book. Everybody knows how corrupt our current government is. Everybody that's awake, I should say, knows how corrupt our current government is. In this book, it outlines a plan that agencies, a black op agency, used to get the American people to pretty much turn against each other and to get the pretty much gun confiscation and so forth and gun bans in place. So read it, and a lot of it can apply to what's going on up in Burns, Oregon. And this is why. Whoever was piloting that helicopter or drone did a very damn good job of it, catching the video of Lavoie being murdered. And he was murdered. Simple as that. He was murdered. And in doing so, the FBI released this video, the unedited full version of it. And it's about 25 minutes long, but they condensed it down because a lot of it was, chase scenes and stuff like that. Anyway, I do believe, and this is what I'm saying, speculating, and this is my opinion and my thoughts, and it's a good question to ask. Why would the FBI and the other alphabet agencies release such a vivid video of them gunning down Lavoie and shooting him in the back and so forth? You see Lavoie kind of do this, and the problem with that is I think he was shot from behind, and I think the round went right through him from the guy that was holding the rifle. I think he was shot with a rifle, and when you get shot, you're going to do this. So then he tried to put his hands up, and then the other guy from the tree line shot him again. So I think Lavoie had his hands out like this. Hands up, whatever. The guy with the rifle shot him. What do you do when you hurt your hand or hurt your finger? You immediately grab it. Or, like that. So I honestly believe that the guy with the rifle shot Lavoie when he had his hands up, which triggered an automatic response from Lavoie to do this. See where he's hit. See where the pain's coming from. Then the officer from the tree line shot him again as he was trying to put his hands back up. And there's lots of photos out there that, Lavoie carried a old 6-shooter. And there's also testimony that they left their sidearms at the refuge. So that I can't confirm, but from the video and from this girl, Victoria, that was in the vehicle, the video and her testimony match up for what she's saying. So, back to my original statement. I believe the feds released this to incite the militias, the 3%ers, the patriots and the people who've just generally had enough of this fucking bullshit, corrupt government to get them enraged. And in the book here, I haven't found it yet, but I remember what they called it. Pretty much one event would lead to another event, lead to another event, lead to another event, lead to another event, and would just snowball out of control, where it would self-feed itself. So, what I'm saying here is stop and think. Don't be pulled in. Don't take the bait. Don't do the whole hook, line, and sinker and everything. Now, the people that are remaining at the refuge, apparently they're sitting around a campfire, drinking and smoking pot, whatever. Talent release statements, you can look it up online. There's a whole entire Google article and a Wikipedia article and an encyclopedia about it. It's used for pretty much two things: giving the person who's doing a movie or documentary permission to use footage and so forth, and it also discloses how much you're paying a person for wages and so forth. So those are the two main things for a talent release agreement. You can look it up, but you better make sure you read the full definition of it, not just what you want. So, suspicious there, very suspicious. Supposedly from other YouTube channels that I've been keeping an eye on and watching too, not watching also. Blaine Cooper has disappeared. You know, they're saying, where's Waldo? I don't know. Who knows? Some are saying he's a Fed agent. No idea. Provocateur, whatever. I don't know. So, I mean, he's just totally dropped off the face of the earth. So, I'm sure he'll probably pop up at another one of these events when it happens. And I'm saying when it happens, not if it happens. So, all I can say to that is, where is he? You know, supposedly he's got a federal warrant out for his arrest. Whatever. I don't know. Now, with all that being said, it makes it difficult to discern who is who and what is real and what is not real. Are the last remaining people at the refuge crisis actors, plants whatsoever? And another thing that I kind of noticed too is when that came out about the talent release agreements, the perimeter around the refuge went from like this to this to this. It shrank. How interesting. So, I don't know. Just too many coincidences for me. I don't know. Something's just not right with this, with what whoever's left at the refuge. Something's not right. Yeah, definitely something's not sitting right. But get the book, read it. A lot of what's in here is transpiring. So. Now, another point is there's stuff going around saying that the constitutional sheriff Palmer in Grant County set up the Bundys. I'm going to have to disagree with this. It's fact that Palmer and the Bundys spoke, and it's a fact that Palmer said he's got the same shit going on up in his county, and how can he work around that? How can he work to get rid of this? And Palmer invited the Bundys up to his place. And you know what? I guarantee you there were FBI wiretaps and all their phone conversations were intercepted. And I've done other videos where I've said Even though you have the battery out of these freaking leashes, they can still pick you up. They can still record what you're doing. They have batteries that are soldered into the motherboards, okay? So the microphone is always on, period. Period. And you damn well know that the FBI is listening into these constitutional sheriffs' conversations. You have the phone here, you got the phone in your back pocket, it's picking up everything. So, for the people that said that Sheriff Palmer led him into a trap, you guys need to lay off of that shit. Because that means he was probably listening to. They probably listened in over his freaking radio if he had a radio on him. Okay? Lay off of it. We need sheriffs like Sheriff Palmer who wants to work with people to get rid of the BLM out of his area. You know, I guarantee you, if Grant County started to rise up like the people in Harney County did to start learning about their rights and putting a stop to the BLM stuff, the feds will not be able to contain it. Why do you think there's so many feds and so forth inside of Harney County right now, inside of Burns? So lay off of that shit of Sheriff Palmer setting the Bundys up. I do not think he did. I think his conversations were intercepted through this. We all have them. Or cell phone or whatever, or a Fed informant. Everything's intercepted these days. Doesn't matter. So, I don't think Palmer knew this was going to happen. I think the Fed saw an opportunity to make a constitutional sheriff look bad and take heat for saying, take heat for the Bundys getting captured on the highway. I was saying Sheriff Palmer set him up. Let's get that rumor going, which is a bunch of bullshit. So the feds got what they really wanted. 1, Bundys are out of the picture. 2, a patriot is dead. People are incensed. They're ready to go to war over it. They're pissed. 3, Sheriff Palmer, constitutional sheriff, is taking heat because people are trying to blame him for what happened on that highway, which is bullshit. 4, they've released the full unedited version of the Lavoie shooting, murder, to again, get people so riled up and so pissed that they do something stupid, and then the shit stain in the Oval Office comes in and says, see, this is why we need gun confiscation, registration confiscation, and then, comes on in with martial law, because you know what? I don't care who the fuck you are, you ain't taking my guns. And there's a lot of people that think my way too. You ain't fucking taking my guns. And that is what they're looking for. And you don't think it's true? This is probably going to be kind of a long video. Let me read you from the book. This is fact. Fact checked it. During the 20th century, over 100 million civilians were killed by their own governments. More than in all 20th century wars combined. In each case, extermination followed gun confiscation. 1911, Turkey established gun control from 1915 to 1917. 1.5 million Armenians in Turkey, unable to defend themselves, were exterminated. 1929, the Soviet Union established gun control from 1929 to 1953. 40 to 60 million class enemies, unable to defend themselves, were exterminated. 1935, China established gun control. From 1948 to 1952, 20 million Chinese class enemies, unable to defend themselves, were exterminated. 1938, Germany established gun control. From 1939 to 1945, 13 million Jews, Catholics, Gypsies, and others unable to defend themselves were exterminated in Nazi-controlled Germany and Europe. 1956, Cambodia established gun control. From 1975 to 1977, 1 million class enemies unable to defend themselves were exterminated. 1966 to 1976, China still had gun control. Millions of more class enemies, still unable to defend themselves, were exterminated in Mao's Cultural Revolution. 1990s, Rwanda established gun control. In 100 days in 1994, over 800,000 Tutsis, unable to defend themselves, were exterminated by machete-wielding Hutus backed by armed government militias. A quote. Also, when guns are outlawed, only governments and criminals have guns. Another quote. Never again. We will never again be led like lambs to the slaughter, because in a moment of naive optimism, we allowed ourselves to be disarmed. It's about the guns, people, and it's about any means to take them, period. That's what it's always about. That's what it's always going to be about. The shit stay in the Oval Office and his administration are going to try to use this to entice people into pretty much a revolution or a civil war. And we have to be very careful. And like the Oath Keepers and the militias and 3%ers have always said, we need to have the high moral ground in this. So, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Step back, analyze this, see what's going on. So, in the meantime, support the 3%ers and the militias that are up in Burns. I support them for what they're trying to do, for trying to wake the community up and getting the corrupt officials out of there, and also supporting the local residents that see what's going on, and that support and helping them to continue to wake up. So support the militias and the 3%ers up there that are doing their job the best they can. But we, as patriots, need to keep the high moral ground, and at the same time be aware of the evil plots that our government is plotting. And remember, this stuff doesn't just happen on a whim. It takes a lot of planning and everything. I guarantee you they're probably planning something else by the end of 2016. There's stuff going on up in Utah. There's stuff going on in Arizona. There's stuff going on in Texas with BLM. So be prepared. Be ready. XCR out.